Today, I'd like to show you the new features in our latest version of Zoom Video. This is version 3 Professional. Let's start by loading a video. You can do that either using the load function or with drag and drop, whichever you like. Let's load the video, and now let's take a look at the interface to see where our new features are and where there are new things to discover. I'll explain a bit about them as we go. Let's start in the top left corner. We've made some changes, especially on the interface. Here, for instance, there are now segment separators, the green lines in the scroll bars. Everything's been visually highlighted, so it's quicker to find and easier to use. You can also go to the view area and configure these separators. You can set the color of segment titles if you want. So the interface has had some good improvements. We've also significantly upgraded the RAW module, which is part of the professional version. Let's have a quick look at some of the areas. Here's the palette area. Let's close display up here. This is being completely redesigned for very fine structuring with general options for fine-tuning color, saturation, brightness and color tone. The brightness and color tone for these individual hues. Moving on, the FX area here has some new photo styles, and the AI area also has some more filters. There have been loads and loads of changes everywhere, and you can just adjust these filters here, apply them to the video, and the scaling calculation then applies them automatically. What changes have been made on the Zoom and video interfaces? Down here we can see the video interface. For example, we have new video codecs. This is the AV1 codec for CPU and for GPU. We've also got the VP9 codec. There are new quality levels, and these quality levels can also now be compared across the codecs. For instance, if I select quality level 3 and save an MPEG 4 H.264, then do the same again with AV1 in that quality, the video will be roughly the same size in both codecs. However, the video in the AV1 codec will probably be slightly higher quality because the compression method is better, but you now have the chance to compare them, which is very important to us. So we've made a whole load of changes under the hood. And now we come to the area that I would probably consider the most important, which is of course the scaling area. What have we done with the algorithm there? How have we improved the quality? What have we enhanced? Let's take a quick look. And the most noticeable new feature is probably the button that's been added here. You can now scale videos up to 16K. 16K video is a massive resolution. So you also need a system that can handle that. For this kind of video scaling, we recommend at least 128 gigs of RAM. That really is quite a lot. If you're trying to scale a video to that level, the program will point that out to you again. As soon as you press render video down here, an information window appears usually. Let's fit the video to the screen again. The video I have here has a resolution of 1280 by 720 pixels, which is SD resolution. Usually scaling is in the range of 4K or 8K, and you'll get great results for that with an 8GB system. It's just when you're looking for very large resolutions that things get more challenging. Let's take a look at what we've done here. We've set 4K. Let's just render our image as a preview with the current settings. These are the default settings. Let's have a look. And now let's put the same areas next to each other. Let's use the cursor keys just to zoom out for a little bit. Now we can see a bit more. On the left, we can see the pixelated original and how it would look with 4K if we just scaled the pixels up. And on the right, we see what the program does with it. And we can already see a significant improvement. Let's go down a bit and look at the quality settings. Here in gamma aliasing, for example, we can see a new level at the far end, level 8. Let's set that now. This is the highest edge smoothing level. Now let's render the same image again. Straight away, you'll notice it takes slightly longer, but it still only took just over a second for this image. And now the contours are much better again. If you want to render videos in this quality, you have to factor in a bit of computing time. But the calculation core itself has been completely overhauled and some elements have been completely rebuilt. And I'd now like to talk about the short-term memory, which I'll open here. This is an acceleration method that we developed for this specific algorithm. Here we have a new option, which is also preset. It automatically detects scene changes, such as cuts in the video or when the scene changes significantly, and it then adjusts the short-term memory to the new scene. This has two benefits. Firstly, the quality of the video is improved because every time the scene changes, this short-term memory is discarded and then rebuilt for the next scene. The second benefit is that we just build the short-term memory and speed up the calculation until the next scene change occurs. So you don't have to specify any times. The program does that fully automatically. Of course, you can still set a fixed time, but I would recommend just leaving it as it is. That gives you optimal quality with optimal speed. For specific uses, you can also configure fixed settings. For instance, if you have a video CD that changes image exactly once per second, then you can also configure that as a fixed setting. The program doesn't have to analyze anything. So this automatic scene change detection has improved quality significantly and made things much faster. For the higher quality levels, that means speeds up to 3 times as fast, or a factor of 3 compared to the previous version. That's a big improvement. Let's turn our quality down a little as we have a bit more to see. Down here in super sampling, we have another new level, 400%. If I now set that to 400%, the video image or the preview image is not scaled to 4K, but to 4 times the width and height. And the result is then scaled back down to 4K. This is the super sampling method, which gives us even more precise contours. As you can imagine, it also takes a lot more time to calculate. So let's turn that down again. We've combined all this in 2 new quality modes, modes 9 and 10. So you can select them directly from here without having to go into the individual settings, although you still can. You can preset a quality mode such as level 8 and say, I don't want any super sampling here, but I want a higher level of edge smoothing. And then you get exactly what you set, and you can render your video accordingly. Another important new feature is the intelligent details area, which is brand new. What are intelligent details? Let's reset the quality again quickly, and then I'll show you what that does. I've picked out an area in the video here, these green bushes, some vegetation. Let's just see how it would look if we scaled it without intelligent details. That's the default setting for the program. Let's do the calculation. And now let's take a look, let's compare. We're going in a little closer so we can see it a bit better. Now this area on the left is actually the original video, and this area on the right shows us the structures the program has generated without intelligent details. So that's a mathematical interpolation that analyzes the surroundings. And we've enhanced this process significantly with intelligent details. Let's turn them on now. You can set the intensity to whatever level you like. Help is also available if you don't know exactly how much you might need. You can click the various motifs here, and a value is then suggested for you. For portraits, we tend to use less because we don't want to fill our lovely soft facial features with micro details. For landscapes, a value of around 33% is recommended. Let's set it a bit higher now so we can see it a bit more clearly in our demonstration video. Let's set it to around 50%. Press Calculate Preview again and take another look. Now we see there are a lot more micro details which have been calculated from the surroundings. That means This is a statistical method. It has nothing to do with AI or anything like that. There's no generative AI in there. It's pure mathematics, which looks at the kind of structures in the surroundings and how these structures might continue on. It also determines what kind of structure should be integrated there. For instance, is it more like vegetation, like our bushes here, or is it more like a technical element? If we go a little further down to our sandy beach, for example, we don't see any additional structures at all because the image was very soft there. And the feature makes sure that meaningful structure is only added where structure already exists. As we can see, lots of microstructure has been worked in here. One very important aspect in a video, of course, is that this all remains homogeneous throughout the movement, so nothing starts to flicker. Naturally, we've incorporated that into the algorithm. It makes things a bit more mathematically complex, but still very doable. And that's how we get extremely good microstructures from a video that has hardly any at all on the left here. So that's how you add your own microstructures to your videos. I recommend a value between 20 and 30%. I only turned it up a bit to demonstrate it in this video. So those are the main settings in the zoom area in scaling. If we look up here now, we can see a toolbar with various tools, which is new. Let's turn off the zoom area. We can see some new modules have been added here too. Some of you might recognize them from our photo editing program. We've adapted some of them for video, so we can use them here too. Let's have a very quick example. Fit that back in with a double click. Let's open the color module where we can create a new color layer. Let's pick a color with the pipette. Let's take the blue from the parasol here. And now we can give that a new color. When I close that now, it's automatically applied to the entire video as soon as I start the scaling calculation. Of course, the color module has its own video for you to watch. And then there's also the LUT module, where you can apply pre-made image styles. For example, some well-known LUT styles for video. We've also integrated our AI filter module, which lets you use pre-trained AI filters and apply them directly to the video. You can also train them yourself using our AI filter program, if you like. You can take a look at that too. So I hope you feel like you know all the new features a bit better now. In any event, you have a rough idea of all the new additions. Let's just reset our zoom area again. I hope you have fun trying them out. See you in the next video.